last words that we could find in any history book, but I'm going to share some famous last words with you. Mom, I'm going to college. I'm lost. Why did you shoot me? You shot me. I love you too. Please don't let me die. I don't have a gun. Stop shooting me. I can't breathe. Now, those are famous last words. The first was from Amadou Diallo. He was leaving for college the next day and was shot on February 4th, reaching for his wallet. I'm lost was Jonathan Farrell, 24, killed by a police officer being lost in what was deemed the wrong neighborhood on September 14th. Why did you shoot me was 19-year-old Kendrick McDade, killed by a police officer on March 24th, 2012. You shot me, you shot me. Everybody seen the movie Fruitville Station? Mm-hmm. Oscar Grant shot January 1st, 2009, while his handcuffs was behind him. I love you, Sean Bell, 23, killed November 25th, 2006, on his wedding day. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Please don't let me die. Kamani Grant Gray, 16, killed March 9th, 2013. I don't have a gun. Stop shooting. Michael Brown, 18, August 2nd, 2014. I can't breathe. Eric Gardner, 43, July 7, 2014. Now, it's really, really tragic that we have so many of these famous last words. What do you want to say about that, Ryan?
It's a shame because the person that's receiving these messages or that is hearing a person basically plead for their lives. You know, I couldn't even fathom the thought of what I would say if someone had my life in their hands and they were basically getting ready to take my life from me. What would you say? What could you say? And is it something that my parents or my father or my siblings or whatever would want to remember me as such, you know?
Good point. Good point. Like, okay, take for instance, let's talk about some young men that you haven't heard of. Mm-hmm. Wendell Allen, 2 weeks ago, 20 years old. The police busted into his house, shot him straight through the heart. Shot first, asked question later. He wasn't the guy they were looking for.
I saw that.
They were in the wrong house.
Right.
Or let's talk about Chavis Carter last month. Arrested for marijuana. He was searched, handcuffed with his hands behind his back, and put into a police car. And now they say somehow he accidentally killed himself with a gun in police custody. I mean, when we talk about justice, I'm to the point where we expect justice, but we have to start demanding change.
Exactly.
We really have to start demanding change. I was on the show last week by myself, and again, I want to give a shout out to my bestie, Dr. Burton, who couldn't be here. She is on vacation, and to Miss Tita Mama Joe, who is not feeling well, under the weather. So we miss you, Dee. We miss you. If you got a question or a comment, 915-5202. But getting back, it's like one of the things that I was talking to my husband and some friends, and I wanted to ask you, Ryan. Mm-hmm. I believe that shooting an armed person should be a federal offense.
I agree. And I was thinking about this because you look through the news and history books and so forth and so on. And now this thing is the shooting of African-American males has become a virus across the United States. I was thinking the only way that you can settle anything like this, and I'm not sure if they do it or not, but I think they should. Why don't they, if they don't or do, give the police officer that's doing the shooting a lie detector test to see if it was racially
malicious,
done,
right,
or they actually did it for protecting him or society or whatever. I think that they should be put on a lie detector test to find out whether it was racially motivated or not. I do know that police officers go through stuff. We talked about that. My father and grandparent, my grandfather and my father were police officers. So They tell me stories all the time about things they had to go through. But still, it's kind of one of those things where it looks like they're just getting trigger happy nowadays,
I think you raised a valid point, because one of the things that we know, and because I too come from a family of police officers, is that they go through mental competency tests and things of that nature, but it needs to be ongoing.
It does.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's kind of like military.
Correct.
Okay, it's just like if you when you take a soldier and you put a soldier out to war, and their program, they go through a debriefing, they go through a deprogramming stage in order to populate back into society. That's why when you walk around and you see some people that we used to joke and say shell shock,
Right.
that will walk around like that. Well, I'm sure that there's some officers that's walking around shell shock.
Exactly. You know, with DOC, police officers, and some military, I think they're the highest rate of divorce in the country and in the world.
Right.
So it's got to be some type of mental stress. I can only think of what they have to go through during their day. You know, I understand. But some of the things that what's been going on lately, I don't think that a lot of those officers had the right to do what they did.
Right.
I really don't.
Right.
You know, I think that from what I was taught, and you know, taking a college orientation workshop down here at the State Trooper Academy, some of the things they taught us what to look for and what not to look for. You know, what things to look for and not do or expect, or so forth and so on.
Right.
Well, I think now it's become the hunt and the hunted.
You know, you raised a valid point.
You know?
One of the things that me and my husband talked about is, again, that this movie, The Purge, came out, and it makes you wonder, are we under a modern day purge?
Yeah.
I mean, are we under a modern day purge? I mean, the stories, every time you turn on the news, is something. Okay, and like, I'm not saying that there's not crime